Order, Council is in session. I am residing Judge Ewok, and as always, I am joined by residing Judge Junky.
Hello.
And residing Judge Volio.
Order.
How are we doing?
Order.
Yeah, just still digesting. That is all.
Yeah. Been a big news week. Before we jump into
Massive
that,
news
quickly,
week.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, though, what have we been playing?
Yeah, there was this thing that I played, and I kind of did a thing with you in front of people.
Do we have to do that now?
I think the quicker we get it out the way, the better.
Yeah. Right, let me just adjust myself. Here we go.
Yeah. Rainbow Six Extraction. We're not worthy. No, we're totally worthy.
Yeah, it was so good.
Sorry. There you go. Right out my mouth. Sorry.
Yeah.
We were wrong on that game. We called it to be terrible, glitchy, didn't control well. The aim was off and everything. But that was obviously going off beta builds. We kind of heard murmurs before we played it live on stream that it had been polished up a lot. We didn't believe how much. Off stream, the pair of us had done the training.
Yeah.
And that had sent shockwaves through us and a little bit of worry.
Yeah.
And then we dropped on stream. Ewok.
Oh, it was so smooth. I mean, I've been playing a bit of Rainbow Six Siege leading up to it. And it was... Yeah, I've been playing Siege leading up to it to kind of get myself back into the mechanics. I've been bit by the Siege bug, but that's a different thing. But the moment I dropped into it, I realised it looked smoother than Siege. It played a little bit smoother than Siege. And actually, all the game mechanics for the different missions were absolutely spot on. I enjoyed every second of it. And hands up, we got it wrong. I still don't understand why it's in the Rainbow Six universe, why it's not a separate IP. Admittedly, but
it's just the Tom Clancy name in it.
I think that's what I said back when we were talking about it, wasn't it? Put Tom Clancy's name on it and it'll sell. But they could have made Tom Clancy's Alien Invasion or whatever, But the game itself, it's a solid piece of work. It's so good. And we actually played for like maybe an hour or so just after stream as well. We didn't just end it there. We enjoyed another few missions in it, and it was brilliant, especially with 3 people because we did get joined by Banana at some point. Humble pie, and I'm kind of glad because it actually tasted delicious.
Yeah, but like you said, we were glad to be eating humble pie because at the end of the day, it's nice to be proven wrong for the right reasons rather than being proven wrong for ultimately the wrong reasons. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said on the stream that it was the right thing but the wrong way of doing it. Yeah, in the sense of giving it in the sense of painting it with the Tom Clancy skin, the rainbow skin. However, and you'll know because obviously we spoke about it again. I was then streaming Rainbow Six Siege a couple of days later, and I said on stream, why does this not feel as smooth as Extraction? Like, it felt clunky. And then I couldn't comprehend why Extraction now felt like Siege and Siege felt like Extraction. It's like literally the gameplay mechanics had switched.
I think that's just down to the age of Siege. Siege is an old game now, and you can definitely tell that Extraction's been made especially the XS version, which we played, it's been made to utilize a little bit of that extra power. While Siege has had an update to utilize some of that extra power, it's not the same thing.
No.
And I think that's just where the difference lies. But
maybe it's the fact that there's only 3 playable characters on the actual level, isn't there? In that Extraction, whereas obviously you've got like 10, haven't you, on Siege?
Yeah,
I was going to say, like Extraction is just it's PvE, isn't it? It's play versus enemy.
Yeah.
There's not like both teams. There's not like 6 separate like IPs going against each other.
That's not saying they wouldn't do a scavenger style esque PvE.
Yeah, sure they could. Yeah,
later on, I could see that happening.
My question is, do you think it has like staying power? Like, obviously, it has had a tortured sort of like life as it's going to be, and it's taken us to say, oh, we're going to give it a go. How many people are going to give it a go? I mean, obviously, Game Pass will give it that sort of breadth for people to go, oh, I'm going to play it because it's free. But how many people can you see going, oh, it was good, yeah, I'm going to keep playing it? Because, I mean, the closest thing I can think that sort of looked the same was like an Alien versus Predator fire team sort of PvE thing, and that had a massive surgence, and then it just sort of like fizzled out quite quickly.
I don't think it'll have the longevity of Siege, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah.
I think people will play it. People will enjoy it. And moving it into Game Pass after the bad reception was a masterstroke, I think, because even at the lower price point of like 40 quid that they dropped it to make it more appealing, I wouldn't have touched it.
No.
Knowing what I thought I knew about the game. So having it in Game Pass, I think, is going to give it that lease of life, but I don't think it'll have that longevity that Siege has.
Yeah.
Because that comes from that competitive nature, I think.
Yeah.
We seem to be seeing a trend with these types of games where like it looks like it's going to be, oh God, who's going to buy this? And then suddenly Microsoft come in with a little shining cape and go, welcome to Games Pass.
Yeah. Well, so like Outriders and then
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood Extraction,
Yeah. To be fair, I think at the moment that it shouldn't be used, but is getting used as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
The Game Pass, it's like, well, look, if all else fails and we're getting a negative reception, fucking throw it on Game Pass, isn't it? Because people are going to go, ooh, it's on there, it's free. Yeah, I'll play it. And then you kind of build yourself up a new community around those that have tried it and played it. I mean, I'm with you. It's good, but has it got the legs? 6 to 9 months, and I reckon you're going to see people start crying out for new content if there isn't already, or new maps, new operators. We said on the stream this potentially you could already see them potentially launching new maps and oppos together as like another set of stories. So another set of 3 maps or 3 hot zones, 1 map, and then you get 3 new operators to go along with the story to that map. That would make sense.
Yeah, if you look at the amount of operators in there,
the roster,
there's definitely not even like half the amount of, say, defenders you'd normally have in Siege, like with a full roster. So there's like nearly 4 times the amount of operators available in Siege that could possibly be kind of dropped in as DLC packs and microtransactions. But yeah,
just awkwardly looking away.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, now that I've played it, if it was to drop out of Game Pass in 6 months, which some games don't need to drop in at launch, get a player base for 6 months, I would possibly consider buying it, but still at maybe a lower price point.
Well, imagine 6 months. This will be like bargain basement prices anyway. This is probably
20 quid.
20 quid.
Yeah. 20
quid.
I'd consider it as like one of them things to jump in with, like the lads when there's nothing else to play. There's 3 of us on. What should we play? Tell you what, let's throw a bit of Extraction on. Kind of thing.
But yeah, Humble Pie, definitely. Glad we did. I'm glad we played it. Because it gives us another game to play, and we got proven wrong for the right reasons, as Volio said earlier, and it's great for that to happen.
I mean, again, when we were playing it, we were saying that because you take the stealth approach on it, you were looking for sight lines, and then you realise that this is something you could carry over to Siege as well.
Yeah.
And then you start realising you're playing Siege a little bit different. So if anyone that hasn't played Siege doesn't feel comfortable going straight in the PvP option, I would strongly suggest start with Extraction, getting used to the mechanics, the handling the guns, the gameplay style, then take yourself over, because it's a great stepping stone in.
Yeah. Learn how to kind of use different angles and stuff and keep yourself hidden. Yeah, it was great. But sticking with Ubisoft for a second, which I think we've eaten enough humble pie there. They've also announced, as well as releasing obviously Extraction into Game Pass and getting a new player base for that, they've also announced the closure of a different game as well.
Yeah, Hyperspace, which was their online battle royale brawler. It's just another name in a fishbowl of
mediocrity.
That's a very good way of putting it.
there's that many games in there that I never actually got round to playing it. I usually try them all.
The only exposure I had to it was seeing some of the big streamers going, "Oh my god, this is amazing! This is the best game I've ever played. Look at this, jumping around buildings and doing mad angles and shooting and stuff." And I was like, "That looks like every other battle royale that's coming out at this exact moment. That's like not the big free." And I was just like, "I have no interest in this, and it'll be gone next week." And about a month later, all the streamers dropped off. Not saying that they were, paid off, but
the way
it's just
supported on launch.
Yeah, just seems a bit convenient that like they stuck around for a month and then deserted like rats leaving the sinking ship, and now here we are a year down the line and our game's just gone into development limbo hell. Gone.
To be fair, I can see a few games very similar doing the same thing. I think Knockout City by EA's.
I was thinking about Knockout City. Yeah,
literally, Knockout City is like it's chomping on its heels. I think that'll go soon. I'm trying to think what else there is. Is the new one they're trying to push out? Isn't there some sort of Rumble thing? It looked like some sort of boxing grappling battle.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
Rumble City or something like that.
Yeah, Rumble City.
Is this the one they announced at the Games Awards? One by Epic, was it?
I think so. Yeah. It almost looks like the characters have been taken from Ready to Rumble boxing, and then put into this battle royale verse. So yeah, I've got a feeling we're going to get a load of shovelware in the form of battle royales in times to come.
Yeah, however,
there is potential. I mean, we're talking about these sort of things. Everybody knows when it comes to battle royales, whether it be first-person shooter battle royale or whether it be something along the lines of Smash Brothers, right? That's still a battle royale, essentially. The side-scrolling beat-em-up battle royale doesn't do as well alongside the shooter ones because the FPS is the better genre in most people's perception. However, Sony tried to throw their hat in the ring with all this because you had Brawlhalla, you had Smash Brothers, and then they brought out, was it the PlayStation Heroes or whatever it was?
Yeah.
That's now dropped out the chart so bad now on the market. It's now gone free to play on Sony services. That sort of game, it's hard when you strike out in a genre and make such a good thing of it, i.e. Smash Brothers. Everybody else then tries to copy, and it just feels like a watered down version. And I think, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're now getting with the Battle Royales. It kind of, I hate to say, but COD did strike out there and created Warzone. It's given us this Battle Royale. PUBG struck out and gave us this survival, elemental, like, making sure you're grabbing your gear and equipment management style. That struck out. Apex with the whole abilities and stuff like that. That struck out. And then everything from them seems to have been a watered down variant. And it's just, you're never going to get as good.
Yeah, we said in previous ones, didn't we, that like the Battle Royale genre is just saturated.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much like crap to wade through. And a lot of them are like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a free to play game, so you don't need to spend money on these big ones." But they're so low quality, they're so poorly built. A lot of them. It's the same thing as you said. Every time somebody strikes out in a genre, everyone tries to follow.
Yeah,
everyone, big studios, small studios, and you end up with so much shovelware.
Nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Just trying to kind of like milk the cash cow, aren't they, until it's dry, and then somebody will create something new, and then they'll all follow that.
Well, yeah, Fortnite, another one struck out. The third-person battle royale that brought building along with. So you had your Minecraft kids who love building, you had your COD kids who love first-person shooters. Why not hit two markets at once?
Yeah. Apparently, they're making a no build mode in the new update.
I heard that, and I will be playing.
I heard a lot of people get upset by that. Oh, what's the point? It's just not Fortnite if we can't build stuff. Well,
I'm sorry, I can't throw up a semi-detached house in like 2 seconds.
33, we've got rheumatoid arthritis. Let me build houses.
There was nothing worse than getting into a gunfight on Fortnite, and then like I throw up a wall or two to give myself some cover, and then a peek, and they built like a semi-detached with a pool, an extension for the dog to have a little run around in, and they're just sitting off on the balcony sniping me, and you're like, what? What is this? What is this?
But yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think moving forward, I mean, Ubisoft are having a little bit of a hard time at the moment because all their AAA titles are either taking some punishment or are having to be recycled at the moment. You talk about the king of recycling, For Honor, Rainbow Six. Don't wince at me now, and I'm sorry for saying this. The Division.
No, you're correct.
Yeah, it's king of recycling, and now slowly they're disguising hype as recycling for Assassin's Creed. Now, don't get me wrong, Valhalla did deserve the hype it got. It's an amazing game, and yes, the player base are crying out for more content, but you can only carry that on for so far before you need to move on. And there's a lot of other stuff coming out as well. Now, there is something that caught my eye by Ubisoft that can fall in that niche market of, your knockout cities and stuff like that. And it was that Roller Champions, and it was meant to be a new esport game. It was meant to be, something different, something to get the competitiveness going again. I played the beta, fell in love with it. It's my sort of thing. It's unique. Imagine the skating style from the old Jet Set Radio in like an empty swimming pool or a bowl, similar to the old Tony Hawk style, and then put a ball in the play. And that's basically Roller Champions. Roll around a track, try and put a ball through a hoop to score, but it was full contact as well. So it made it interesting. And then you saw teams developing early team plays, pros starting to, straight off the bat, people that got the mechanics, and it was interesting to see. And I know that's due to drop anytime soon, so if you are going to be watching some of my streams, you'll be catching a lot of that.
Yeah, I remember watching, because I had signed up for that, but didn't actually get a key. So I was watching you playing, as you say, some of the teams, and you could already see esports potential.
Yeah.
In that, even in the beta. And I was very interested. It's just roller derby in it with a twist.
It is, but it's also, and I've got a feeling, going full circle on our conversation, something I could see drop into Game Pass day one, just to build that player base audience. Yeah. I mean, you've only got to look at Rocket League.
Also, let's not forget, Ubisoft has a Star Wars game in the making, which is meant to be massive, and they keep hyping it up, and I think there's a danger of hyping things up. I've got no doubt it's not going to be good, but like when we've still not seen nothing, and every time I hear about it, it's like, oh, it's the biggest game we've ever made. Oh, it's massive, it's amazing, it's going to be fantastic. It's something that's never been done before. And if I just get an Assassin's Creed Star Wars skin, I don't know if I'll be like massively fussed on it. I mean, I'll play it. I do enjoy Assassin's Creed, but it's not going to be innovative enough for what they're sort of putting out there. But shall we segue into EA, who announced this week 3 more Star Wars titles, i.e. Respawn are making 3 Star Wars titles.
Now, Respawn, who made Titanfall, which then went on to become Apex. But, Titanfall, man, what a game that was. Could you imagine a Star Wars one of them where you're grappling onto an app and just like, I'm going to jump in this and roam around and start killing stuff?
Well, they already used some of the Titanfall mechanics, didn't they, in Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah.
Amazing game. Incredible game. I love that game so much.
I haven't played it yet, but I do own it.
But they used the wall running mechanics from Titanfall in that. For parts of the the jumping puzzles and things like that, and it was so smooth. It played so well, and the fact that they're going to be able to make some more Star Wars games. I think they're making a Fallen Order 2 as one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think Fallen Order 2 was the first one. That's coming out later this year, probably holiday time if it doesn't get delayed. I believe someone reckons they're making a first-person shooter, so I imagine that'll be akin to Titanfall-esque. And then I've heard rumors that the third title is going to be like a card game. So maybe like a Hearthstone type thing, which would be a bit different. But that's a very, very sort of like thin rumor I've heard. That could just be. There's no bones to that at all. So don't take it for gospel.
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought though.
A big deviation.
I think an FPS will be good. I mean, do you remember? Was it?
They were making.
What was the Xbox one? What was the one on the original Xbox with the was it Rogue Squadron? No, it wasn't Rogue Squadron.
We had Boba Fett. We had the Bounty Hunter on GameCube. That was really good.
There was an Xbox one. I actually own it. I can't remember the name of it, but you basically played one of the trooper squads.
Rogue Commandos on it.
Yeah, that might be a Rogue Commander. An FPS like back in that sort of style would be brilliant, I think. There's so much Star Wars stuff coming, but the fact that EA announced a few more titles surprised me, considering they lost the exclusivity license. I honestly thought it was a move from Disney saying, we're not happy with what you put out on the majority, so we're going to give other people a chance first.
I think the largest part of the clout obviously came from Respawn. If Respawn weren't developing those titles, I don't think they would have been given free titles to be. LucasArts wouldn't have given them to them.
No, I think you're right there.
Yeah.
I think the other thing as well is EA are in a situation at the moment where they know they're about to lose the FIFA license as well. And there's potentially all the other sports licenses are up. So EA are looking, for a better use of the word, fragile at the moment, because they've not really got anything on the market competing. Battlefield has fallen out the charts through the floor and could go free to play any day. FIFA, the argument is still churning out. It's the same shit, different year. And now, to add to that, there is a new football game that is being teased, UFL, which is Ultimate Football League or whatever they're calling it. And the gameplay demos are circulating already.
This is the Polish developer, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's better than PES, and the characters look more realistic than they do on FIFA. So this is like, are EA having to watch the back here now? Now, for a number of years, people have cried out they just want a singular EA title developed with a pay annual update to update the graphics and skins, and maybe a few gameplay bits. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But obviously, it's not the only sports genre title they own. They've got NASCAR. They've got NASCAR because they bought Codemaster, and that was all being developed through them. You've then got the NBA title, which they lost out to 2K, and the wrestling title as well. You've then got the ice hockey. Now, that is probably their biggest thing going at the moment, because 2K want to make a bid for NHL franchise name, but they can't because they're too invested in other stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that they can't make a last-minute dash bid. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting. And then what else has EA got out there? We've not seen anything from BioWare for God knows how long, and everything we have has been tainted, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, they've got Dragon Age in production.
And we got Dead Space.
Got Mass Effect in production. Dead Space coming out.
Dead Space,
but nothing new, nothing innovative.
And then the other one, Fight Night. Everyone's cried out for a Fight Night for God knows how long. You know what I mean? Again, there you go. There's your biggest cash cow for EA at the moment, UFC, because they do own the UFC franchise. I think they've got it for another 20 years, something stupid like that. And obviously Dana White, he's loving it right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
But people cried out for a Fight Night, and now we've got another third-party competitor who, again, for use of a pun, thrown their glove in the ring, if you want to say. You know what I did there. And this Shadow Club Boxing or whatever, Showtime. I can't remember the exact name, and I do apologize. That's a Showtime Boxing. And again, what we were seeing in fidelity of the graphics, the realism, the contact of the punches, and the reactions of the fighters, the actual mocap done by real fighters in real fight scenarios, the facial recognition. It's starting to look like EA King of all sports games a day's gone by. And I'm not saying I'm not a fan of EA, but I wouldn't object to them losing the throne, put it that way.
I think we've had this issue within the gaming world for a while now, where the community cries out for a game. We know it'd sell, we know it'd be great, and they just brush them off. Splinter Cell, Fight Night. You know, how long have we been screaming for another Knights of the Old Republic? And and they just
Well,
brush off. We're getting a remake of the original, which brilliant.
Well, we're getting a, by the sounds of it, a Final Fantasy VII remake of the original, which is just, it's not a remake, is it? It's a reimagining.
Yeah. It's a reimagining, yeah. I'll still play it, but yeah, we have this thing. Good. We have this thing where we're like, you know, if you build it, they will come, but they're not building it until like they're very desperate, and by that point, people have lost faith in them.
I've just had a thought. Right, bear with me. Right, Fight Night style. So, imagine Fight Club, the game.
That did that on the PS2.
Did they?
Yeah, it was very bad.
Imagine it done right. Imagine like Fight Night and UFC mixed together.
You're missing the big flaw there.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to buy it because I can't talk about it?
Yeah, and how are you meant to advertise it? What about Fight Club? It's like we need to shh.
The cover would just be a bar of soap, and it'd just say, "We can't talk about this game, but you want it."
If you know, you know.
See all the retailers with a confused look at them and like the queue going out the doors. Like, who's been talking about this?
Okay, I'd pay for a Mortal Kombat style Fight Club game. Take me money.
You talked about that sort of thing. I would love to see another Def Jam game.
I was just thinking that. Yeah. Fight for New York was amazing. Oh yeah, that would be brilliant. But yeah, we do have this thing where we're like,
developers, if you're listening,
yeah,
where you pull right here, you know, we'll give you all sorts of ideas.
Well, that's the thing.
Market.
Yeah. There's like so many games for so many years, and it seems like now studios are only doing them now that they feel desperate.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're seeing a lot of remakes, isn't it? Because
right, okay.
But speaking of desperate,
well, I was about to say we've talked about Ubisoft, we've talked about EA. There's only
who's left to talk about?
Nintendo are good and safe for now.
Yeah, one company has found itself being dragged through the mire. Drugged and dragged through the mire. Dragged through the mire.
Dropping.
As we stumble our way through to our main section.
Yeah, they've been dragged through the mire recently, both publicly and kind of behind the scenes as well, with a lot of dev strikes and all things like that because of the culture within, which that's not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about is Xbox stepping in and saying, "We'll take that.
I'm going to take my bottle caps."
Yeah, for just shy of $70 billion.
68.2.
Activision Blizzard is going to fall under the Xbox Studios umbrella.
Okay, so give it a second to take that in. Xbox will now own Activision/Blizzard titles. Let's play the name game. I'll start. Call of Duty.
I've got a list of them all here.
Okay, so it's just... Okay, we're going to play Activision Blizzard Bingo.
Give me a title, I'll tell you if it's on it.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's it.
World of Warcraft.
That is there.
Warcraft.
Still there.
Starcraft.
That is there.
Overwatch.
So, yes, that's there. There are 37 different IPs that fall under that umbrella. Some of them are smaller than others, but some of them, we've said in the past, need a reimagining, Guitar Hero.
Oh!
DJ Hero, please. Even. Here's one for you, and I loved this game on the original Xbox and then on the Xbox 360. Gun.
Oh! What a game!
Yeah,
I forgot they own that.
True Crime.
Oh yeah.
And then it goes on Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
No, skip over. You cannot skip over that easy.
I knew you were going to stop me. That's
you
why.
cannot skip over that easy. Let's talk about that I am an 80s kid, so I was gaming in the 90s when all the consoles were out. And every console and every brand came with its own iconic mascot. For Mega Drive or Sega, there was Sonic the Hedgehog. For Nintendo, there has and always will be. It's a Mario. Right? Xbox came out and the big green dude dropped and just kicked everyone's ass in the form of Master Chief. Yeah, Shrek, yeah. Master Chief. Yeah. That's right, Puppers. Give me kisses, distracted. And then Sony adopted a hybrid of like Lara Croft and Crash Bandicoot as their mascots.
Yeah.
Now, how much do you feel knowing that your mascot now belongs to essentially your proverbial enemy?
It's such a weird thing to kind of take in, because you think Crash. I know Crash is on all platforms now. But you think Crash, you think PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you think sitting there for hours going crazy as you got crushed by a boulder because you couldn't make one jump on your PlayStation 1. And it's such a weird thing to think that actually, and let's not beat around the bush on this, actually Crash could become an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Could you see a Crash remastered being Game Passed?
Yes. I can see basically most of the stuff they've got out now at some point hitting Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
The
biggest one for me is Overwatch. Overwatch is screaming to go on Game Pass, if you ask me.
Yeah. You remember what happened with Bethesda? So let's get this into context. Bethesda was bought for what, 7.5 billion?
Yeah.
So it's nearly 10 times the amount that Bethesda was bought for. That's insane. That's crazy. But we got the announcement about the Bethesda deal, and we knew it wasn't going to be complete for another 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Bethesda games started dropping into Game Pass in that 18 months. And then when it was complete, everything hit Game Pass.
Yeah. I think as long as it gets through the licensing hurdles through the courts and stuff like that, competition commissions, I think once it's through those sort of stages and rubber stamped, the rest is all like litigation. It's not going to fall through after that. It'll go through, and that's when you'll start seeing games dropping. So I reckon about August you might see some things dropping in.
Like Vanguard?
Definitely Vanguard. You might see Vanguard prior to that, surely because they want to make some money on it. Because it's.
But we can come back to the games bit in a second. But you said very interesting there about all the courts and litigation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big part of this, isn't it? Because of the monopoly commissions and things like that.
Well, I was going to say, I was speaking to a friend about it, and he's a massive Sony fan as well as an Xbox fan, and that was his first thing. He's like, "But when's somebody going to step in and stop Xbox now monopolizing the market? Because they are literally buying up studios." And as we've said in the past, it's getting to the stage where if Sony want any sort of life in this market, they're going to be forced to make a play and either buy someone like Epic or buy someone like EA just to keep the hat in the ring.
Yeah. I think looking at it, I think the other side, the commission side of it, I think it's a lot of the scaremongering to some degree is from the Sony side, from PlayStation players or things like that. We're not going to get into Xbox versus Sony because that's not what we're here for. Gamers are gamers. Whatever platform you play on is yours to enjoy. Choice. Go for it. Play your games. Enjoy them. We prefer Xbox to majority. I mean, but. I've got a PlayStation. I stream PlayStation games. Yeah. I like it for certain titles. It's brilliant.
I'll play a game for playing the game. Doesn't matter what platform I play it on.
Exactly.
I will hold my hands up and still say, as an Xbox player, that one of the greatest games I have ever had the pleasure of playing is The Last of Us. Will I ever see it on Xbox? No, because I know it'll never go there because Naughty Dog and Sony are hand in hand. Am I really pissed off I'll never see it on the Xbox? Yes, because I reckon the Xbox could offer something extra to it. However, I accept it for what it is and enjoy for what it is, and what it is damn good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think Phil Spencer said this week, this transcends beyond the sort of fanboy arguments about Sony versus Xbox. Yeah. It wasn't about Sony versus Xbox. This is obviously probably Kotrick before he went to Xbox, went to Facebook, and he went to a few other big sort of people. Imagine if Facebook bought Activision how
You
bad
mean
that would
meta?
actually be.
It's all now
Yeah.
meta, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think it went anywhere. I think they turned them down. Obviously, Xbox came in for a second bid and said, "Listen, we'll pay you $68.3 billion," which was nearly double the actual valuation of Activision at the time.
Yeah.
So it's big money.
Yeah.
And it is to sort of like compete against Amazon with your Luna, not so much Stadia anymore, but Facebook and all the other big contenders. If you think about in terms of this deal, Sony PlayStation, that side of it, not Sony as in the whole company. Sony, the PlayStation aspect is only worth 40 billion. So this deal was more than Sony costs. Obviously, if you were going to buy Sony PlayStation, it would cost, again, like this cost 68, you're probably looking about 80, 90 billion. And no one's going to buy a company. Xbox tried to buy Nintendo. They got laughed out the boardroom. So, but yeah, he's come out in statements, hasn't he? He said they're going to honor all existing deals like they have with Bethesda. And I truly believe that COD will stay a multi-platform title. I can't see how it doesn't.
Well, the monopoly side of it, some analysts have looked at it and said, even after this acquisition goes through, Xbox are still only third in the market share behind Tencent and Sony PlayStation. So I can't see it being blocked in any of the courts or any of the commissions and stuff like that, simply because if it leapfrogged them from third to first, there'd probably be a lot of questions and maybe a lot of stipulations. Yes, you can buy this, but you're not allowed to cut off, certain parts of the market, all that kind of stuff. But because they're still only in third, I think they'll just get free reign to do what they want. And we know Xbox will honour existing contracts. They've already come out and said that.
Yeah.
And I do think, as Dan said, that COD will be on Xbox and PS4, PS5 even. I think
it'd be suicide not to put it across all the platforms. Because at the end of the day, I don't know, there might be the arguments out there, but I think the Call of Duty fan base is predominantly either PC or PlayStation based, not really Xbox. And you know what I mean? That's a big slice of pie to literally be shunting or snubbing off. Literally cut your nose off to spite your face. You wouldn't be gaining anything from it. In fact, you'd probably create more hatred and like angst against your brand. So you're not going to do it, are you? However, saying that, with the quality that's been coming out, so many players really want to be involved in a not so great product. It's one of them arguments, isn't it?
The plus for me on the Call of Duty side, hopefully, with a bit of investment, with a better. And I've seen a few devs from Activision who have gone over from Microsoft this week on Twitter saying, "Oh, thank God, we're back in the fold. We've been like welcome home type thing." So hopefully the atmosphere will like level out a bit. We'll start getting some more premium quality tested products again, and it will be a joy to play it again. So hopefully it'll be good for everyone, really.
I think what we'll see is like Sony won't get that 1 year Spec Ops exclusive content.
That was the point I was going to make. Thank God for that. I think timed exclusivity has always been. I'm okay with exclusivity. That's fine. You can have exclusive games. That exclusive games sell consoles. I don't like it when any company, Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, do timed exclusive deals like that.
I've got 2 words for you, Junky. Jade Rabbit.
Well, I think
little Destiny joke there, guys.
Yeah,
that was the best thing about them leaving Activision.
I think that it will be on both. But could you imagine this? Right, you've got your £450 next gen machine, and the latest COD just drops into Game Pass. Not only that, but something we don't talk about much with Game Pass is Game Pass perks. Xbox decides to throw 500 coins at you. On top of that, if you've used the Microsoft rewards system, you'll never have to pay for another battle pass again. And you can use all the coins that you earn in your battle pass to buy your skins, do whatever you want with. COD on Xbox suddenly becomes very, very appealing if you never have to spend a penny on it.
But you'd have to. It's knowing how to use the facilities you've got at the assets at your facility. You know what I mean? You've got to know how to use them. So you've got to know how to take full advantage of the Microsoft reward system. Now, obviously, you've coached that many a time, and if you're not sure about what we're on about, guys, head over to Ewok's page on Facebook. Check out his little article he wrote up on there about basically getting free money.
Yeah, £10 to £15 a month in credit.
Money.
Yeah, at least £10 to £15 a month in Xbox credit I earn on that.
That's ridiculous. And what are you doing to earn that? Are you having to get up at the crack of dawn and commute to a job that you really don't like?
No, I literally spend 5 minutes sitting on my computer or just doing a couple of quick Bing searches on my phone. Done.
Yeah.
That is it.
Ewok Hub.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
EwokHub.com. Ewok fans only.
But I think that's where they'll look to move some PS players across. With that, you're not having to drop 80, 90 quid on the best version. If you want the best version, you can drop 25 quid on it. Get the base version in Game Pass.
Do a Forza.
Yeah, exactly. And buy the deluxe upgrade, and you've got everything. But you don't need to pay for your base game. And it's not just COD, is it? It's
like I say, Overwatch is, to me, Overwatch is one of them games. It's been out for a while. It kind of brought the whole MOBA thing into a different light again, because it's at 5-on-5 in a set method where it wasn't a MOBA, but it wasn't a first-person shooter in traditional values. And because it was a bit unique, again, it struck out. It created that thing. You had things that fell behind it, like some paladins and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Paladins isn't on par, because I know there's a few people that listen and watch this podcast that are Paladin players, and will fly the flag for it. However, the minute you talk about that style of gameplay, there's always one that jumps out. You know what I mean? And it is Overwatch. But Overwatch is now coming to the end of its lifespan. We are literally waiting for Overwatch 2 to drop. They said that a while back. It would not surprise me to see that very soon on Game Pass, to try and do one last hurrah in the community base. Because if you do that, you're then building hype for when the new one drops as well.
Yeah, I mean, that it just makes sense from a business side of things. Drop it in and maybe get the. I know we talk about this. You get a new like breath of life into the player base, but it's also a business move.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got skins and microtransactions. Yeah, it's the bane of it, but if you're looking to recoup $70 billion, it's a smart business move to drop whatever you can into Game Pass as soon as you can to get more people playing it and maybe make some money back through microtransactions as well.
Now, on that one, right? I came out with a statement not so long ago that certain games belong on certain platforms, okay? Now, it can't go unsaid that along with the acquisition of Blizzard Activision, there is possibly the biggest online subscription-based game in the world. Okay?
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, they're totally it. And I said it should never be brought to console. It wouldn't work. It should stay on PC exactly where it belongs, because that's where its player base is strongest. That's where it feels most comfortable. And now, I might have to beat some humble pie, because for God's sake, we can't not mention the fact that in this massive bundle of things I've bought, World of Warcraft. Can we see World of Warcraft on a console finally?
See, this is before you took over. This is what I was going to sort of bring up. World of Warcraft. Are we going to see it on console? And so, two things. Will we see it on console? That's maybe. It'd be extremely hard to port over, but it would make a lot of money, and it probably would bring about the keyboard side of the Xbox finally having it as an input source. The other thing I thought, even if it didn't come to console, and would bring a lot of people to it, and the subscription service if it's part of Games Pass Ultimate.
Well, this is it. I could see it going straight onto the PC Game Pass, literally, or at least in the perks, like Ray was talking about there, if you drop in Warcraft on the PC Game Pass and then say as a perk, here's a free month to get you going.
So how much is a subscription for World of Warcraft at the moment?
$9.99.
$9.99. So if you put in,
it was last I checked. Yeah.
If you threw in a few perks into Games Pass Ultimate that went into World of Warcraft, like you were saying, like maybe you get like I don't know, so many resources, special armor every month. So you can either get if you play World of Warcraft, you'll be thinking, well, I'm not going to get a Games Pass Ultimate because it's like £15 a month. But if you threw in that perk, would that sweeten the pot with the idea of like having no extra games to play with? But it's one of those, like, people who tend to play World of Warcraft tend to play World of Warcraft.
Only World of Warcraft,
yeah. I think what's interesting is, without a doubt, all of these titles are going to go to console Game Pass or PC Game Pass. I mean, we're going to see an array: StarCraft, Warcraft on PC, things like that.
Hearthstone,
Diablo.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Diablo yet.
Oh, yeah.
Diablo 4.
I can see that being an exclusive.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, yeah. I can definitely see that being exclusive.
I can see a Hearthstone port over to console. That could be easy to do. They've done the game card, the whole card game thing. Wouldn't take them much to port that over, so I reckon that'd drop nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right in the sense of you've got part of the sweetener wouldn't just be the perks. It's the fact that if you did want to try something else out on the PC, you've then got the ability to literally try before you buy, in essence.
Yeah.
And we're all overstepping a big thing here as well. The structure, the infrastructure that goes in behind these games to be able to make them played as they are, so the server bases and all that sort of thing, that's going to get a fucking massive boost as well from Xbox. Because you think Xbox have been able to put out a high quality streaming service now on through Game Pass. Could you imagine if you'd be able to, like, on your phone, stream Warcraft?
Yeah. I think the cloud-based services. Now, we're talking about Game Pass with this because it's inevitable, right? What I do think is inevitable as well is the price of Game Pass is probably going to increase over the next 2 years.
If it does increase, we'll see a tiered system, I'd imagine. I mean, there's already a tiered system in place, but with gold disappearing this year completely, you'll just have Games Pass PC, Games Pass, Ultimate Games Pass. I read an article and someone was saying, "Oh, this is the end of Games Pass. This is a bad idea. They bought Activision. They're obviously going to rise the price hike." Probably was someone that supports Sony to try and like scaremonger, and they're like, "I reckon the end of the year it's going to be £25." No way! No way in this world will that Games Pass Ultimate ever be 25. Well,
no.
If inflation goes up, obviously it will be £25 at some point, but I can't see it being anywhere near that in real terms. Like
20 quid, I could see.
I could see 19.99. 19.99 is the highest I could see it going to.
Yeah, I think that'll happen over the next couple of years. So I think we'll see an increase to maybe £14-15 in the first year. Yeah. But then I think if it does go tiered, that top tier will be like, do you want everything? Do you want to play Warcraft? If you've got the top tier of Game Pass, you don't need to worry about your subscription.
Yeah, you see that.
That's what I could. That's what
25 quid a month, but for that you're getting a subscription to Warcraft. You're getting all these games on PC, all these games on Xbox, and your perks as well on top, which sometimes include the likes of Spotify, Discord, Nitro. It wouldn't
YouTube
surprise
Premium,
me. Exactly. At some point, we saw Microsoft maybe make a sneak sort of little wink at Netflix.
Disney as well. We had Disney.
Yeah. I can see the price increasing, but I when you look at the value for it and what they're adding to their portfolio, all the studios, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's been £11 a month for a few years, whilst they've been piling more and more content into it. And a 70 billion or close to 70 billion acquisition needs to be recouped at some point, and it's going to be recouped at the consumer end. Of course, it is. But with that much content,
I still can't see it. I still think they'll keep it like at a fairly, like a really, really decent price. I can't, like I said, I can't see it going past £15 for a long time. And like you talk about recouping it from a consumer's level, I don't think they need to recoup it from a consumer's level. If you think about Warzone last year, even with all like the tribulations and trials and like the glitches and the ricochet failures, hashtag ricochet. Warzone last year still brought in 1.93 billion pounds dollars. And don't forget, they also acquired King, which develops Candy Crush. Candy Crush. We've glazed over this. The mobile aspect. A big part of this deal was to sort of like get into that mobile gaming sort of world, which makes
I know you can get
money.
Hearthstone on mobile as well. So you know
Exactly.
what I mean. You're already starting to branch out there. Diablo mobile drops this year.
Yeah. So Candy Crush last year brought in $1.6 billion. So between like Warzone and Candy Crush, just two acquisitions in a year, you've made back like nearly like $4 to $5 billion. You've nearly made back 10% of your initial investment.
Don't forget Overwatch Saga as well.
Exactly, yeah. So I still don't think they need to sort of recoup it. They want people on Games Pass to be in the ecosystem, but I don't think they need the money from Games Pass.
Am I missing something? Didn't Microsoft not so long ago buy ZeniMax as well? Not ZeniMax, Zyga, the ones that make
no, that was
Zynga.
That was Take Two.
Take Two, Zynga.
Yeah, we talked about that the other week, didn't we?
I remember acquisition.
That was the second biggest acquisition.
Yeah.
It was the biggest acquisition in games until Microsoft.
So how long before Microsoft would go to Take Two and go,
hold my beer?
Khajiit has wares.
Here's another angle, though, guys, as well. And I joked about this in our chat the other week after we heard about all of this. How much bargaining power does Xbox now have when it comes to renegotiating any contract with Sony?
Remember when you used to let your little brother play Player 2, where you get the controller wasn't plugged in?
But is it unreasonable to think at some point Xbox just say to them, "Yeah, you can have Call of Duty, just let us put the Game Pass app on your Sony console"?
Yeah, then we're never going to get exclusives off them. We'll never get the likes of Uncharted. We will never get the likes of Last of Us. We'll never get the likes of Days Gone. Although Days Gone, God of War, Santa Monica, they've all now gone through PC. So if you want to play them games, you're no longer stuck to playing them on the PlayStation. You're PCing at them, which is what I'll be doing. I'll be getting Horizon because I love that sort of game anyway. I'll be getting God of War because I've never really tried it. So I'll be going down that route to get them. However, there will be PlayStation people that want to try the likes of Halo and stuff and don't want to go on PC. So it makes sense for the Game Pass app to just naturally be on there.
There's no loss to the company. Like if you're going to say, oh well, people aren't going to buy Xbox now. Well, people weren't going to buy Xbox anyway. if they're in that camp, people who like are adamant tribal PlayStation players, we're never going to buy an Xbox console. So you haven't lost anything. It's the same argument when people said, well, now it's come to PC. Why do I need to buy an Xbox? Well, you don't. That's the point.
Yeah.
They're still getting your money. They're still getting your Game Pass subscription.
I think you'll see the drop of the Xbox or the Microsoft part of it, and I think it'll just be trademarked Game Pass, and that's it. Just there will be a generic Game Pass app that will appear on the platform.
I mean, I know there's a lot of people who'll be listening to this who'll be thinking that just a bit kind of outlandish. It's a bit like kind of outworldly. They'll never let that happen. But I don't think it's as far fetched as some people would think.
No, I think as time goes on. Sorry, as time goes on, when Facebook, Amazon become bigger players, Netflix are now making games. As they become bigger players in this arena, it will be the time for like Game of Thrones alliances to start making their pace. Whether we see Games Pass on Nintendo like it was originally sort of like rumored, PlayStation, I think it will happen. I think it's inevitable. I think they will club together to.
I think it'd be a streaming only service.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think it'd be you can download the game, so you'll still get people who want to play COD, online, who won't want to risk the lag input of a stream. Just those few milliseconds or whatever. They'll buy the hard copy of the game or the digital copy of the game. But I I mean, I joked about it, didn't I? Say, it's 2025. You wake up in the morning, you turn on your PS5, and you boot up your favorite app, Game Pass. It was a joke at the time, but it's not unreasonable to think. I can honestly see them going, listen, we don't want exclusivity. However, a little bit of back and forth, because Sony would actually make money from any subscriptions sold on the Sony platform. What they usually take is like 30% of anything sold on their platform, isn't it? Something like that.
I reckon if Microsoft could even go as far as saying 250, we'll go half split.
Mate, sell more consoles.
It's free money. It's free money, isn't it? Yeah, it makes it. Yeah. So, it's just the shockwaves that this acquisition can have through the whole of the gaming space, not just for Xbox.
The devs would be screaming out for it as well, because it's going to increase their player base.
Yeah, and the devs at Activision's at Raven Software, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, they've been screaming out for not annual releases of COD.
Oh, thank God for that.
They want more time to develop. They want to put out a quality product. They want to innovate. But at the moment, they're forced to kind of rehash the same content to a degree, aren't they?
I think just like let Infinity Ward be the every 4 years make a COD game, and then let Sledgehammer, Raven, High Moon just make their own IPs.
Infinity Ward have always been the better games.
Just say to them what they've said to other developers that they've taken into the fold. What do you want to do? What do you want to make?
Yeah.
Touching on that quickly, Infinity Ward, I think, were the best story for COD. They've made the best stories for COD since day dot. Treyarch need to be given the license to just fuck off and go and make the COD zombies by itself, because that's what they're known for. You don't buy a Treyarch COD for the sake of the multiplayer gameplay. You buy it to play zombies. We all know this. I think Sledgehammer and Raven have shown their potential with the multiplayer aspect. But I genuinely think now it's a situation where Warzone needs to be its own thing. COD multiplayer needs to be its own thing. COD story needs to be its own thing. And the zombies as well.
Part of the contract they've got with that Activision have with Sony for the PlayStation is the next two Call of Duties and Warzone 2. I think when Warzone 2 drops, as you say, that needs to be its own thing, its own entity, separate of being tied to any of the engines that are being used for any of the other games.
It needs to be a situation where you don't have to own one of the other CODs to level your guns up. It's all contained within the one. If you want to level something up, you go to play that one game. Not, well, if I buy this one, I can unlock an operator for that one, which unlocks a gun for this one, which means I can then come back here and use it in this map. Fuck off.
Yeah, but as Dan said, if you put a 4-year cycle on an actual campaign COD and let Infinity Ward do their thing, could you imagine the quality? Could you imagine the innovation?
And if you want to give me a Modern Warfare equivalent of the Halo battle rifle, I'm okay with that.
What a weapon! It's just I think under the Xbox Studios umbrella, they've been as Junky said, they've been so good at saying to studios, "What do you want to do? What is it you want to make? Is it feasible? If so, here's a potload of money. Go make it." And they've got 4 AAA studios. Yeah, and they've got 4 AAA studios there that are working on one title.
I mean, you've only got to look at 1047, Splitgate. They came up with the idea of an arena shooter based around Halo. Microsoft caught whiff, rather than going, "No, shut it down, don't want anything, no, you can't do that, that's our baby." Turned around and went, "Do you know what, I really like what you've done there, but it probably worked better if you did this," and threw them fucking assets and money, you know what I mean? How many other, we don't see Nintendo doing that. Every time there's a whiff of somebody modding something for Nintendo, Nintendo are down on, "Well, no, console Zelda, that's ours."
Yeah.
Well, obviously that's the other aspect of the Activision deal is like everyone thinks, oh, look at the IPs. They don't think about look at the studios that support. So obviously the reason Destiny 2 go past Destiny 2, always go past Destiny 2. The reason Destiny 2 is so good.
The same with him.
talking about the Forsaken campaign before they left Activision was because High Moon Studios were helping out. They're such a good support studio, and you got to think how many support studios there that could bolster over Microsoft titles and make them better PC ports, better 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 everything. So that's another aspect of it, like things that people just don't think about. They go on in the side, and that's where Sony have been so good. Sony have got so many support studios that bolster their bigger studios, sometimes to the chagrin of others. Obviously, with the Bend saga now being a Santa Monica support studio.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's another aspect people don't really think about.
Yeah. Well, just coming back to something that Volio touched on, and it's something you mentioned to me the other week, Junky, actually. 1047, after the release of Halo Infinite multiplayer, you were mentioning about how there was an increase of Splitgate players on the Sony platform.
Yeah.
Because they wanted something like Halo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Halo on the Game Pass on PlayStation, you'd see more players on that and stuff like that. It's just...
why have I just got an image of Master Chief teabagging the Sony sign?
Oh no, boys.
I know.
I'll behave.
Very nice.
No,
Yeah,
but
it's just...
We need to get Sony. We need to get a Sony representative on this cast.
Leave that with me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We are, we do gush over Xbox because it's our favorite thing, but we never actually properly hate on Sony because we got so much respect for what they do. It's just right now they don't seem to be making any good moves in the industry. Anything they do seems to be to aggravate.
They do.
Someone
had to mention it.
What was that?
No, you said doo-doo.
What they do.
Obviously, this is an intellectual podcast, guys. You don't have to listen to...
But you look at their past moves, what they've done is kind of try to aggravate player bases and try kind of keep that divide there. The talk over crossplay over the last 5 years.
Oh God, yeah.
It was them that was saying, why do we need to have crossplay? No, you don't need it. Your players want it.
I mean, to be fair, that is just market arrogance, isn't it? And I'm hoping that the past few years has shown this is starting to sort of subside a little bit. Xbox did it when they were in with the 360 era, and PlayStation did the same in PS4 era, and it's just
just while we're on the subject of crossplay, that's one of the big things. I think it's going to be a relief to a lot of Xbox people with the new acquisition is the fact that when you did play Call of Duty and Warzone, Sony players had the ability to turn crossplay off and still play Warzone. Microsoft and Xbox players, we were forced to keep crossplay on. And the amount of people I know that played Warzone said, do you know what, I'm having to turn crossplay off because I just want to play with PlayStation players because I want a fair game. And that was half of the combat of this Ricochet shenanigans.
#Ricochet.
and do you know what? I don't care. Activision, Blizzard, whatever, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, come at me, bro. It's called Ricochet because it's in play and your game is still getting full of cheaters and hackers.
Yeah, I went through the actual Xbox menus like you showed me and turned off crossplay, then tried to jump into Warzone. Wouldn't let me join the game at all. No. Had to go back in, turn crossplay back on, so I've got to play with the people who are cheating. If Xbox have control over that.
Yeah, even if it's still a multi-platform game, that's the only thing I'd say we want out of it that's different.
Yeah. I think with all crossplay, I'd rather crossplay with just other console players. If I have the ability to turn off playing against PC players, I'd do that. Because even with aim assist, PC players have such a huge advantage over.
That goes across all games, not just Call of Duty.
Yeah, all games, definitely. But yeah, as you say, if Xbox have got control of that now, maybe we'll see them say, you know what do the community want? What do our players want? And turn that off.
Tell you what, though, guys, we'll tell you what we haven't done is we haven't asked our listeners.
Yes.
What do they think about it, guys, girls? Please. Spill your guts out. Tell us your comments in the chat. Hit us up on our socials, which are always on the bottom of the screen through the magic of editing. I'd love to hear what other people's opinions are, and we will try and get somebody who's a bit more blue, shall we say, in the wearing the Sony cap, and so because we do go. I admit we do go a little bit green fanboy over the side. However, you know what I mean, like you said, admittedly I don't own a PlayStation anymore, but I have played them, so I'm more the Xbox guy. Ewok does play PlayStation quite regularly, and Dan lives and breathes Nintendo and PC, so we are kind of balanced. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think we need to go a little less green these days. He says, stroking his Master Chief helmet.
Well, I guess we always we kind of tell it how we see it.
Yeah.
And if we see Sony doing great things, we'll say. But right now, this has definitely been an Xbox news week.
It has. Now, just to close out nicely, previously in the podcast, we have said about making contact and reaching out with developers, not just to give them the shit, because everyone seems to be doing that, but also to praise them. Now, I can't remember if you mentioned this last time. I think you mentioned it briefly on your stream, but Ewok, you recently reached out to a dev, did you not?
I did indeed. I started playing a game called Dismantle. I saw it release on Steam like a year ago. But it did say it was coming to Xbox. So I thought, you know what, I'll wait and I'll play it on Xbox. And I just was searching through the store the other week and I was like, oh, what's coming soon? I was like, it's coming up tomorrow. Right, okay, picked it up. Started playing it at midnight when it launched and I looked up at the clock and it was like 3:30. And I was like, oh, yeah, I better get to bed. And every spare minute since I've been jumping on it.
How many hours have you got clocked on it?
40-ish.
41 hours.
41, yeah. So I reached out to Tenton on Twitter, who was a developer, and I basically said, guys, what an absolutely brilliant game. It's a kind of asymmetric zombie survival, smash things up, craft things, and search the map and follow the story type thing. And it's so simply done. It's so well made that I've seen zero glitches. It's just a fun game to play and to kill some time with. So I reached out and I congratulated them on them. I said, what a game. I'm playing every spare minute. I streamed it for 5 hours and, on the first day it come out and there were people in the chat who were like, oh, what is this? This looks good. This looks fun. So yeah, I give them some love because they deserve it, I think. Great to see an indie studio make something so cool. A lot of the indie studios make really cool stuff. So
cool. Junky, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. PlayStation will buy Square Enix this year. Calling it. That's my final thoughts.
That's a hell of a shout. Ewok, final thoughts.
Hard to top that one. But I'm just my final thoughts on this whole thing. I'm just excited to see what we get into Game Pass and all the stuff that all the games that they're going to be able to develop, including, sorry, should have mentioned it very quickly, the survival game that Blizzard have just announced that they're working on. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. My final thoughts are, if this is anything to go by, gaming as we know it is about to change. And I'm hoping it's for the better and not the latter. And with that,
have faith.
Cool. Yep. With that, guys, court session has finished. All rise. I have been the residing Judge Volio.
I've been residing Judge Ewok.
I've been residing Judge Junky.
Until next time, guys, stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.
Take care, guys.